6 months ago. Good evening and welcome back to SDN Racing Tier 1 Season 6, where after a 2-week break in respect of the real-world F1 action in Austin and Mexico, we now return under the lights. And what a venue to come back to, the Marina Bay Circuit in Singapore. It's round 11 and the championship stakes have been higher now. Last time out, it was all drama and survival at the Monaco Grand Prix, a race that only 11 drivers managed to finish. Chaos unfolded with multiple safety cars, drive-through penalties, and a costly crash from Eric while running in P2. It was Kevin who emerged from the shadows at the end of the tunnel into the spotlight once again, taking his third win of the season on a flawless drive from the second on the grid. Lucas recovered brilliantly from P8 to P2, while Mel's stunned the field with a sensational podium in P3, carving his way through the mayhem. And with that result, Kevin now sits firmly in the top of the standings with 197 points, 52 clear of Kick, who slipped into P5 in Monaco after a late race penalty with a drive-through. Lucas remains within striking distance of 130 points, while Fire and Hatikas round off the top 5 in what shaped up to be a fierce fight for podium honours. Tonight we race in Singapore, one of the most demanding and unforgiving circuits on the calendar. 23 corners, 31 laps, and nearly 2 hours of intense physical and mental endurance await the grid. It is true test of concentration with little margin for error. One brush with the wall and your race could have big consequences. The humid heat, the relentless cornering, a high chance of safety cars make this battle of attrition. Qualifying will be everything. Track position is king here, and overtaking is notoriously difficult. Can Kevin continue his charge towards the championship crown? Will Kick strike back under the lights? Can Lucas go one better and close the gap in the championship? And who will master the tight, twisted streets of Marina Bay Circuit? It's full qualifying as well, and it's time to find out. It is round 11 of SDN Tier 1, and this is the Singapore Grand Prix. My name is Jamie Morris, and alongside me tonight is the Dutch co-commentator himself, the legendary Milan Langer. How you doing, mate? How was the intro?
That was a brilliant intro, and thank you very much, and good to be back. For it feels like an eternity. We're still in this season, round 11 only. Got a couple rounds to go after this one. The Singapore, definitely one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. Really enjoyed driving around here. So I'm looking forward to the race tonight as well. It seems dry at the moment. Hopefully it's not going to rain the race, otherwise it's going to be a long evening. But yeah, we start off with qualifying. It's a full grid actually, so that is very nice indeed. As well, a couple of drivers out on track already actually. Quite busy now down the first straight, but this qualifying session, it's going to be very important because overtaking around Singapore is notoriously difficult. Even though you got 3 DRS zones, it's going to be a massive DRS train in the race, and overtaking the DRS train is always difficult, and especially around a straight circuit like this. So this qualifying session might be a little bit more important than the other ones we've had so far this season, as Kick has rejoined, so he can get his qualifying going. So well, Kevin is out on the hards for his first one, of course, full qualifying, so 3 Q1, Q2 and Q3. So right now it only matters, you want to be in the top 16. So the first one to start his lap is Daniel in the McLaren. He had a big moment there, out of turn 3, already costing him a little bit. Seems like the back end is a little bit loose for the McLaren, driving alongside our championship leader Kevin. In this race, Happy must have been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. I don't know where that is. Might it be at the exit of turn 14 potentially, but that is very bad news for the Mercedes driver, because that means he is going to be starting in P20, and he's going to have a tough job during the race, coming back from that and getting a good result. So, well, very unfortunate for the Mercedes indeed. A quality ban. Oh, he's got a quality ban. Okay, then he's just messing around, but driving it wrong way. So he's going to be last anyway. Just a bit interesting way to do that. But Daniel is going to go into the hairpin after the bridge, and that bridge section can catch you out. You can really easily hit the wall on the inside, something that I've done a couple of weeks ago, and knocked my front right wheel off in the race. It can be done as well, so have to be careful through there, as he is coming up to some traffic. Hopefully they get out of the way. The Sauber, very late, he gets out of the way in front of the McLaren, coming out of the final chicane, which can be quite difficult with the curbs, quite inconsistent through there with the curbs. And the first lap time on the board is going to be a 1:29.791 for Daniel, but I have a feeling that lap time is going to get beaten by a few of the other drivers. Kevin, he's on the hards of course, but I still reckon he could go quicker than that. And I believe he can fully make Q2 despite doing his best lap on the hards. We'll find out in a few moments time, as coming around the final corner is, I think, yes, F1 short in the RB with a 28.6, already over a second quicker than Daniel. He's also on the softs, and more lap times are coming in as we just have kicked off this qualifying session. Then it goes P2, 3/10 away.
This session is going to be very difficult indeed, with every single driver struggling around here as well. The pressure could be ramping high as all the drivers look to try and find the track limits around here, which is going to be so difficult as Mels Marquez goes quicker with a 28.4. So F1 Shorts returns after a few races off. He has been a very quick driver in the past. He won the Belgian Grand Prix last season after a strategy masterclass against the one and only Eastbrand, the last champion of SDN from last season. And unfortunately, he is not here tonight. But F1 Shorts can be very quick as well, as he's still adapted towards this game. We haven't really seen many races of him so far this season, so let's see what he could do around here in Singapore. But currently, it's a raceable 1-2 with Octavia in P3. Octavia is a driver who can deliver some points. He may have difficult times in qualifying. He can be one of those people that gets started out of Q1. But when he can put it together, he can be a regular top 10 finisher. Just like with TVH and now, he's a driver who always, well, mostly gets knocked out of Q1, but somehow always finishes in the race. Although he finished in P11, I think, at the Monaco Grand Prix, just got beaten by the end. He was literally in 10th place on the last lap. But the guy behind, I think it was Ticey, caught up at a rate of knots, was on all the tyres. And unfortunately, he couldn't hold on to that 10th place there. But TVH is a driver who can be very consistent in terms of finishing a race. And that's what drivers lack as well, including me. Some drivers can lose patience and lose their heads when something goes wrong, but TVHNL is one of those drivers that thinks about the end game and always goes towards the end of the distance. Finn Hertz returns as well, so I'm very interested to see what Finn Hertz can do in the Alpine. I think, of course, he won the Australian Grand Prix this season, which seems like a long time ago. Back in July, it was the first race of the season where it was wet, and Finn Hertz replaced Kevin Zumberg for that race as he makes his way now towards the final two corners of this racetrack. He's, of course, on the hardcore power tires, so I expect this to be specifically a good lap, but a 29.710 is good enough as Pronker goes up to P5. We've got the same last name as one of my Dutch mates, but I don't think he's related to him. It is Seep Pronker in P5 in the Kick Sauber time, making his debut because I don't think Ticey is here tonight. Mummy Nick is, but Ticey isn't. Now, Sauber have had a relatively good season. They have finished in the lower end of the points, just lingering around 9th, 10th place there as well. I think Ticey scored his best result of the season back at the Dutch GP, where a lot of drivers struggled to fill that race as well. But Kick Sauber just slowly creeping up on the board there. We've got the two Ferrari drivers of just Hood and Fireblaze down in 18th and 19th place. Now, Fireblaze a bit unlucky as well in the last few races. The Monaco Grand Prix, when he picked up that drive-through penalty. And to be fair, looking back at the footage, it wasn't fair because it looked like the most silliest thing to do under VSC. But in circumstances, when you look back at it, it's just a game, unfortunately, when he was in the pit lane and couldn't slow it down. So it's just unfortunate. Now, Eric, he is a very quick driver himself, but like we've seen in JSR, like we've seen in SDN, he always makes mistakes. And when in Monaco, when he could have finished in P2, he was alone, nobody around him. He made a big mistake and crashed out, and that ruined his race. Fireblaze goes quicker with a 28.326. And last time Fireblaze raced around here was with me, and it didn't go well because we were both fighting for the podium on that day too. But Fireblaze just beat me on that day and made me race quit. But there's 9 minutes left to go in this session, and so far Fireblaze is on provisional pole. Kevin Zumberg is out on the hardcore power tyres, but I presume he's switched over to the softs now. I know he's on the hardcore power tyres, they're going for multiple runs. Of course, what we're looking for is P16 downwards to get eliminated, and they're the drivers. One driver has been eliminated so far. It is Happy Meal, but we're looking to see who else might get eliminated on this session. It is Eric, Papa Collins in P17, Kick, and Mummy Nick are currently in the elimination zone, but we expect Kick to get themselves out of that bottom zone. And Eric is coming in the flying lap now. He's only fueled the car for one lap only, so he's got the confidence to do one lap. And let's see if this is a spectacular lap time to get himself inside that lucrative top 15. I think just Hood in the Ferrari goes P5 just ahead of Mummy Nick. Mummy Nick crossed the line too. He goes P6 there. Decent lap time there from the Kick Sauber driver who's looking to score more points this season. But here comes Eric now coming towards these slow speed corners where plenty of people in the past have made contact with the barriers. I don't think nobody's crashed there at all, despite hitting the barrier so many times. But here comes the Alpine driver. He goes P3, just behind Mels Marquez, but that is a decent lap time to solidify P3 and hopefully make an appearance in Q2.
And now the eyes are going to be focused on the two Williams drivers, with Lucas and Kick both on their out laps, and are going to start their flying laps in a few seconds to hopefully get themselves through into the next part of qualifying. TVHNL and both Colin at the moment outside the top 15, but TVGNL setting a lap time 6.767 seconds slower than Fireblaze, so he definitely can go quick. But Lucas starts his flying lap, and so does Kick right behind. So what can the two Williams drive to? A big moment there for Lucas coming out of turn 3. I've seen that a lot from a couple of drivers in this session already, struggling with the rear end around a couple of these corners around the track. So definitely seems like the grip isn't that high compared to that it can be. But Lucas now into the braking zone there of turn 7, and he's up by 1.7 seconds. His lap time, his best lap time is 8 seconds off, already a marginal improvement through sector 1, a bit close to the wall there on the outside of turn 8, and now coming out onto this very little short straight. And now have to be careful of that wall on the outside. Don't hit it like George Russell did back in 2023. Now the tightest part of this track, once again sliding around with the back end a little bit, and now going into the braking zone of the hairpin. Very tricky braking zone because you're basically turning and braking at the same time, which can always be dangerous, especially with the brake bias. But now coming into the braking zone, almost 6 seconds up on his currently best time, and down to the final DRS straight, flat out towards that final chicane. And let's see how he's going to tackle that with the curbs on the inside and the outside. Lucas coming out of the penultimate corner, just one more remaining, which should be flat out in qualifying. Here comes the Williams out of the final corner. His lap time is going to be quicker than Fireblaze's. No, it's not, but he's on the front row, 500th of a second behind. Here comes Kick in the other Williams. Can he go quickest? Yes, he can, with a 28.1, and beats Fireblaze by just under 0.2 of a second. So that leaves Colin as the only driver to have not set a lap time. He's doing that right now in the Haas as well, making his way through the middle sector, going quite wide though in these couple of corners. TVGNL as well on an improvement by almost 4 seconds coming out of the penultimate corner, and Geitekaas also on an out lap. He himself hasn't set a representative lap time either, which is something we've seen multiple times before this season. TVGNL goes to the P13, putting himself in the safe zone. Dropping out is Daniel in the McLaren. Erik has retired from the session. He thinks he's going to be safe in P5 at the moment. And now we wait for Colin to finish his lap time. Can he put himself into the top 15? Well, he completely overshot that corner there into the braking zone, and might have lost a couple of tenths with that as he comes out of the final corner. And it's only going to be a 31.0 to put him in P18. As crossing the line there is Daniele in the Haas going into the top 10, just ahead of Mominik. Kevin down in P13. He has gone for a set of softs to try and improve from his time. He's up by 4 tenths already through sector 1. Definitely expect him to be quickest at the end. If he doesn't make a mistake during this lap, we have seen him on pole position many times before this season, and he is always a contender for another pole position, for not only pole position but a win as well, as he hits the ball slightly down the exit of turn 9. Now going into what used to be the Singapore Sling, but they removed that chicane. As he now goes into the braking zone after the bridge, in towards the hairpin, want to get the best exit out of there, because you're now going to have a DRS straight all the way towards the braking zone of turn 14, as Seep in the Sauber goes onto the front row with a brilliant lap time, just over 10th away from Kick. And now Finn Geert is going to go quickest, and he's the first one to break into the 127s with a 27.984. But can Kevin beat that lap time? Can he go into the 27s as well on his first outing on the softs? Hits the wall out of the penultimate corner. The McLaren driver cutting across the inside curve. It's going to be a 27.902 and beats Finn by a couple of hundredths of a second. And Kevin is back on the provisional pole position with just over 4 minutes remaining here in Q1.
Good evening, Paige Dead. Nice to see you in the chat. Fireworks off in the background too, as it's Halloween night tonight. But it is Singapore night tonight here at the Marina Bay Circuit with Kevin Zumberg on pole ahead of Finn Geert. This is long qualifying, remember, so we're just looking to eliminate the 16th downwards. And yes, what a flying lap time there from Kevin Zumberg. Made a few mistakes. He was right on the ragged edge, fighting with the rear end, deploying the battery in the middle of the corner too to try and get the best possible exit. Here comes the Red Bull driver of Geitekaas, and here comes the Red Bull. He'll swap it to P9 a bit. Well, I don't think he's looking for that lap time at all. But remember, it is making his way towards Q2. That's the most important goal. So maybe struggling in these early parts of qualifying here in Geitekaas. I don't think he's really strong at this racetrack either. Is the Red Bull driver? But as long as he's in Q2, it's all that matters right now. We've got Daniel currently on an out lap there with a 29.7. That's his best lap time, and he's already said 1 lap time indeed. Kick has retired. Everybody else is retiring. Just Hood though, well, a bit sketchy for him, because if you look behind him from P12 to P16, P15, sorry, it is super close. Only about a few hundred separating those guys there from P12 to 15. So if Daniela, Mummy Nick, Leonard, TVH and L, if you could find a major time improvement, promote their positions, it could have massive implications for Just Hood in P12. So round on board with Daniel then to see what he does in the McLaren. There he is then, currently in 17th place is the British driver. I think he made his debut back at the Monaco Grand Prix, did Daniel, and we'll see what he does. He just clattered the curb there as well. I think he retired back at the Monaco Grand Prix, did Daniel, so it was a shame for him. I think it was Daniela, sorry, I get confused between the two Daniels there. But yes, the British driver here in a predominantly Dutch league, and it's nice to have him as well. I think this is the only British driver we've got on the grid so far. Majority of them are Dutch or Belgian, whilst you've got an English commentator, so I definitely know who I'm biased towards. No, I'm only joking, of course. I'm unbiased, but yeah, Daniel there, what can he do? A 29.7, and the gap towards 15th place is a mighty stretch for him as well. And he set his best lap time on his first one at the very beginning of the qualifying session. So I hope he can find a major improvement there. Same with Colin, same with Ricky Yu, TVH and Leonard as well is almost on the cusp of elimination. He's currently on his outlap, same with TVH in 60th place. But here comes Daniel towards turn 1, turn 2. Nice line, nice rhythm through there as well. A bit cautious going towards turn 3, but lost the back of the car as he stepped on the power. So he's lost a bit of time already. As we head down towards 4 and 5, we go hitting the apex very nicely, just trying to get as close to the wall as you possibly can on the exit towards turn 5. Now the DRS all the way open, heading towards the breaker zone of turn 7. Looking to see with the 100 meter board is 3/10 up, so it's not bad, but he could find more time if it wasn't for that mistake out of turn 3. We're heading towards this right-hander now. It's very important as well to gain traction through here because it's very easy to just overstep it and lose and have massive wheel spin as he clattered the curve there as well, going in towards this old Singapore sling where many people, including Kamui Kobayashi, Suto and Kimi Räikkönen, made contact with the wall there as well. I do miss the old Singapore sling. Räikkönen crashed there back in 2006. I believe it was, and now we're coming towards under the Anderson Bridge, and we saw some fantastic moves here as well. And we saw, I think, Sergio Perez go down the inside of Alex Albon. It didn't quite pay off, but forced Albon off the road as Daniel's 2/10 up, so he needs to find a mighty last sector if he wants a chance to get himself inside the top 6:15 here. But he might get a nice toe off the back of the Mercedes driver who's ahead of us. That could be TVH&L, but at the same time needs to get out of the way because the turbulent wake re-affects him like he did Verstappen. Massive oversteer there and the exit turn number, I think it's 17, coming towards the final two corners. Can Daniel improve? Is this going to put him inside the top 15? It's not. It's P16 only, and unfortunately the McLaren driver is out of this qualifying session, so it's down towards TVH&L, Reiki Yu and Colin there to see if they can improve as Daniel goes for a spin at the exit of turn 1 where he struggled last time as well, turn 3 sorry. So on board with TVH&L, there is 35 seconds left to go on the clock. We've got F1 shorts, we've got Saltavia, we've got Danieletta out there as well, Mummy Nick and Leonard as well, so they're risking another set of soft compound tyres because they don't feel like they're safe. But TVH&L is 1/10 up or less than 1/10 up in the first sector there, so let's see, can he find more time to try and leapfrog Daniel and get himself inside at the top 15? There is 15 seconds left to go in this qualifying session, so qualifying is almost done and dusted here in Q1 as he now makes his way towards this little sector we go. Can be very difficult as well, very easy to lose it on the curb there, lose the rear end of the car on stability as we head down towards the Anderson Bridge. Let's see how he hooks up very nicely through there, turn 10. Back in the power once again, DRS enabled for this third straight as we head towards the end of this little sector. This braking zone can be a little bit difficult. I've seen a lot of drivers get put off guard through that particular part of the track where they just lose focus and almost hit the wall. I've done it plenty of times myself. It looks like an easy corner, but it isn't. It's just easy to just overstep it and go out wide through there. Now coming towards these slow speed corners where traction is very important indeed. The exit is super critical as it leads on to the last two corners of this racetrack. The double left-hander where it should be flat out, unless you spin through there, and here he is coming towards the line. It's going to be P16 and he can't improve. Mummy Nick is on the cusp there as well. He's currently on a flying lap in the kick but he's a 10th down and has invalidated. Where is Reiki Yu? Reiki Yu is in the Aston Martin, so he's the only driver that can spawn next day and knock him out of Q1 here. Let's see if he can do it as he makes his way now towards the end of this little sector. Let's see how he rides the curves very nicely through here as well. You've got McLaren in the way, but should get out in the pit lane as he makes his way now towards the final two corners. Is this a Q2 appearance here? And the answer is no. He is not at Q1. And it is TVH&L, Daniel, Reiki Yu, Colin, and Happy Meal, the victims out of Q1 as we progress towards Q2 later on.
Usual suspects at the top with Kevin, Finn, and Kick covering the top 3, but Seep a real surprise in P4 on his debut. I think Fireblaze P5, then Leonard in 6th place, but well, the entire top 13 within 1 second. And Dominic lucky to make it through into the next part of qualifying, even though the gap towards TVHNL is a good half a second. But he's in P15, the man who finished P4 at the Monaco Grand Prix, just about making it through into the next part of qualifying that will start in a few moments' time as we wait for Octavia to get pulled back into the garage. But Kevin and Finn, the only two drivers at the moment who have managed a 1:27. Both those drivers only doing one run on the softs though, so I reckon they can go a couple of tenths quicker in the remaining part of qualifying as we wait to see the end results of Q1. But already quite close between the top 10, and it is ramping up to be quite an interesting qualifying session. So I'm looking forward to what the rest of these two sessions have in store for us. And can Kevin go for yet another pole position, or will he be challenged by Finn Geerts, two very quick drivers? Definitely think those two are going to be the contenders for pole position. Kik might have an outside chance as well, but at the moment he was around 0.2 of a second off, I think, in Q1. So he's got that gap to cover towards the top 3. But now we move into the second part of qualifying, 15 minutes, and it's going to be 5 more eliminations after those 15 minutes, and the top 10 will go through into the final part of qualifying. It's all about getting a clean run in, and I think the majority of these drivers will probably go for a huge set for their first run and try and make it to Q3, and maybe having to use a new set at the very end of the session. But here we have 15 minutes remaining. Who's going to be first out of the track, and who are going to be the 5 drivers that will fall at the end of this session?
Exactly then. So this is Q2 then. We're looking to try and see who gets inside the top 10 for pole position later on in Q3. Now, ideally, like you said, you want to use one set of tyres to get yourself in towards Q3, but at the same time, though, mistakes are very easily made around here as well. You can't afford to make any sort of mistakes as well, because it's be costly towards the qualified session and the race too. So you can be aggressive at the same time and be very cautious around here and have the confidence and the belief and the setup to try and get the less lap times in, and we'll see who can deliver under massive pressure as well. Pressure can be so high around this circuit, and 21 corners. It has been modified as well, I think back in 2020 2022, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I think it was the long straight. A few corners got removed in our set to make it a long straight. I think it was 2023 when that was implemented, because I remember Sergio Perez and Leclerc fighting towards the end of the Singapore Grand Prix in 2022, because Verstappen went off the track after locking up in turn 7, and Perez was right at the back. Leclerc was right at the back of Perez's gearbox after a 5-second penalty for Perez. I can't remember what for, but he won the race anyway because Leclerc was out of 5 seconds. It was a very good race as well that year in 2022 when Perez won. I can't remember what happened to Verstappen, if he made a mistake in qualifying or just simply dropped backwards there. He went slow. I think he had to back out because he was about to take pole position. Was it in 2022? And unfortunately couldn't. Maybe 2023. But definitely know that Carlos Sainz won the race in 2023 after a masterclass strategy by letting Norris and his DRS and keeping Russell and Hamilton at bay. Russell crashed the barriers at turn number 8 or 9. And then 2 years later, redemption arc for Russell as he won the Singapore Grand Prix just got a few months ago. And what a sensational victory it was indeed. But back to F1 action now. We've got Daniela on a flying lap in a hash. We haven't really seen much of him as we make our way down towards turn 1. Now, the last time I've really seen him competitive was back at the Austrian Grand Prix a couple of seasons ago when he was taking pole. And I think he spun in the sprint race and had more contact in the feature race as well. But he has been sort of a midfield driver, has Daniel, not going to lie. He has been lurking around. Look at the traffic jam in that last sector as we make our way now towards the end of the first sector we go. It's going to be a 26.3. I presume most drivers here on use set of soft compound tyres. We've got steep Ponca on the medium compound tyres here as Daniel has a massive slide going in towards the slow speed right hand and now coming towards the left-hander at turn 8, turn 9, where you want to really open up the corner, get back to the throttle, but the car not complying once again. It seems a bit reluctant as well, a bit loose at the rear end as we make our way now towards this difficult part of the session where it's just easy to hit the wall on the inside. We saw, I think, Charles Leclerc hit the wall back in 2018 when he made contact with the barriers, and also a lot of people, including me, have also the barriers too. It's not easy as we make our way out of turn 11 going towards turn 12. 3.6 in order sector for Daniela as he gets the car rotated. The car locked up a lot as well as he gets back on the power once again with the DRS open. This is where we also see some chances to overtake in the race coming towards these final few corners on this racetrack. It's all about keeping it nice and tidy as well. Don't take too much curb. And it's very easy as well to just brush the boat on the outside. We've seen it plenty of times here as well. Coming towards now the final two corners. Let's see what the benchmark is for everybody to set. It's a 28.3, and that is not a bad lap time at all there for Daniela in the Haas. But still, a lot of people improve as well. We've got more people coming towards the line. We've got Eric, we've got Kick in the Alpine and the Williams. Here comes Kick towards the line. A 28.4 for the Williams driver. As we see Kevin Zumberg now make his way towards the final sector of this racetrack. Lennon goes P3, presumably on an old set of soft powered tyres. Seep goes P3, medium tyres. Kevin Zumberg spawned as he saves the car. It's a 29.7, but a bit too much throttle and lost the rear in the car there. I think he touched up his curb, but luckily over the barriers they just drifted towards the line as F1 Shorts goes quickest with a 28.140, and the Racing Bull once again looking comfortable. So is Miles Makis in P4. Just Hood goes up into P6 there in the Ferrari, just waiting his teammate now to see what he could do on his flying lap. There he is in the Scarlet Ferrari, making his way now towards the final couple of race corners on this racetrack. What can the man fighting for P2 the championship could do? P6 for him, it's a 28.539, but obviously a lot of these people right now are on a used set of soft powered tyres, waiting for the session to just die down and waiting for the grip as well to ramp up and let the track do the evolution, and we'll see the faster lap times pumping towards the end of Q2. But right now it's all about get a banker on the board.
Indeed, it is just over 10 minutes remaining, and at the moment, F1 Shorts quickest of all, Geitenkaas in P2, and for once, Geitenkaas actually finds himself in a comfortable position through the first two parts of qualifying. Usually, he finds himself having to do a run at the very end of the session, but at the moment he's in P2, and might actually just be safe for Q3. Mominek in P4 actually in great position as well, and it's kicked down in P5 probably on those older tires like the majority of the field, it feels like. And Kevin, of course, has to do another run as Leonard hits the wall there coming out of turn 14, breaks a bit of his front wing for good measure. Eric and Lucas both still need to set a flying lap time, both on the lap time as well, just behind each other, as Lucas is going to make his way in towards the final chicane. Let's see if he can match what his teammate has done, presuming that he is on an old set of tires as well, as he comes towards the final corner flat out, but he spins around himself as well, just like Kevin did, and the Williams driver almost into the wall on the outside, and that is lap time ruined for him, as Eric is going to cross the line, and he goes quickest with a 27.798, quickest lap time we've seen so far this session, although it doesn't really matter as it's still Q2, but a brilliant lap time there for Eric, and almost 0.4 of a second quicker than F1 Shorts in P2, but Lucas, the pressure will be on. Because he needs to set a lap time with 8.5 minutes to go in this session. He is going to be going out as well, and Finn Geerts down in P11. He needs to go again. Kevin in P14. So the two drivers who were in the top two in Q1 currently both in the drop zone. But of course they will be quick enough to get themselves into Q3. But they just need to get a clean lap time in, which is something they haven't been able to do so far here in Q2. But they've got a couple of minutes remaining to still do that, and could maybe use a brand new set for their final, especially Kevin, because that set is absolutely ruined from his first lap spinning around. Probably was an old set as well, so he is going to try again on what should be a brand new set of soft compound tires. He's out immediately on track when the track is quite empty, so shouldn't be any traffic around him. Octavia and the Aston Martin going out as well, and so does Kick in the Williams, and F1 Shorts in second place. So we're going to prepare ourselves for the second round of laps here in qualifying, and we just got 7.5 minutes remaining in the session, and it's Eric at the moment quickest with a 27.7.
An absolute stonking lap time there for Eric as well. F1 Short surprisingly out there on the circuit too. It's an old set, I think it's a new set of the soft compound tyres. So he doesn't feel particularly safe and feels the need to go out there once again, as we've got Kick out there obviously. So I don't know what the cut-off time is. Well, it's super close in the midfield and anything could happen. Plus we don't know what Finn Geerts can do. Well, we know what he can do, and Kevin Zumberg too, and Lucas too. So it's going to be so tight here, and it's all going to come down to raw pace towards the end of Q2 to see who can take pole. And Happy Meal says, tell drivers to look at the driver briefing, and they go, well, I don't have that brief. I don't have the power to tell them to look right now because I'm not going to message every single one of them individually. So, yeah, I think it's down towards the admins and the stewards to do that. I can't really do anything in my position of power to try and do something. What do you want me to say? Everybody, look at the pit lane regulations right now, please, while it's on the track. Make sure you don't cut the corner. I think qualifying, it doesn't really matter, but in the race, obviously it does. But Kevin Zundberg is about to start a flying lap in the McLaren on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres as we approach turn 1 there, in towards third corner, first corner, third gear. Nice rhythm, nice line through there, back in the power once again, and the car applying a little bit of wheel spin on the exit, but nothing too major as we head down towards turn 5. Open up the corner through here, get on the power as quickly as you can, using all the road and a bit too much of it as he hits the barrier on the outside of turn 5. Now, heading towards turn 7, a heavy braking zone. Very important to go off all the speed as well, hit the curb on the inside and use the outside curve for support too. Don't go out wide there because you're prone to validations if you do that, as you want to get the car turned in very nicely through there as well. Back in the power, very smooth impulse, very precise lines through Kevin. Lovely driving, although he just hit the wall at the exit of turn 8. Now coming towards this old Singapore sling, as you need one line, one rhythm, good flow through here as well. Just be very careful and precarious of those curbs there because it can catch a lot of people out as we head under the Anderson Bridge. Flip the car in, and he doesn't really kiss the apex there too. He takes a wider line, but gets on the throttle as soon as he can with the DRS wide open. Let's see what this middle set is like for him. He's 6/10 up, so Kevin obviously on an absolute flyer. His best lap time, of course, was on the old soft compound tyre plus. He's spun towards the end, but Kevin should have no problems getting himself in towards Q3. It should be a walk in the park for Kevin, as now we make our way towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. 17-18, very difficult indeed, very easy at the wall, demonstrated perfectly by Kevin as we're coming towards the final two corners. Flat out, foot to the floor, and let's see if this is pole. It is professional pole, not by much though, but we did see quite a few mistakes there. As Kick, wow, what a lap time from Kick, goes quickest with a 27.324 as F1 Shorts gets himself inside the top 4, and he's also inside the 27s. Look at that between Finn Hertz and Kevin Zundberg. P2, P3 for the PC drivers there, or PC driver Finn Hertz. Not much in it between second and third place, but we start to see some blistering lap times now hitting the table here towards this near end of the qualifying session. Mummy Nick is on the verge, on the brink of getting outside Q3. Here he is then. He's 3/10 up towards the end of the sector. Can he keep this momentum going as he makes his way now towards the line? It's P6. That's a decent lap time there for Nick, and it is so close. 1 or 2 tenths can definitely boost up the order, but Lucas is my biggest shocker here, but there's still plenty of time to go. He is on a flying lap, I think, with low fuel and not good amount of EUS either. So I think he mistake on his first lap and had to go again on his second lap. So could this have big consequences because maybe his tyres not cooled down? He didn't save the battery either. So starting his lap with one tyre behind his back, and I really hope for his sake he can get himself inside of the top 10. Can Lucas? He is a regular driver, but sometimes it's very easy to make a mistake and misjudge it and therefore be out of this qualifying session. It's so important to keep those mistakes to a minimum, especially in the longevity of long qualifying here as well, when anything could happen and could easily spoil your qualifying session. You've got to reset every time you go to 1Q, 1Q2 and Q3. But it's a short qualifying, you can get a nice momentum going all the way through, but in long qualifying you've got to take short breaks and readapt once again and keep putting in those blistering lap times every single time to try and make sure you get yourself inside where you need to be. But Lucas, I didn't quite see his middle sector, but hopefully he's good enough because his teammates on pole position. It'd be a shame for Lucas to be knocked out as well as he won the Dutch Grand Prix this season. But a bit of a moment on the curb there, the back of the car complaining. So this has not been a good run for Lucas as he makes his way now towards the final corner. He goes, it's P10. Wow, only P10, and he could be on the verge of getting knocked out. What's just Hood doing? He's up in the first sector by 500 of a second. Lucas is in big trouble, guys.
Yeah, he is, because I don't think he's got time to go back into the pit lane for another run, and he don't have the fuel either to continue on this run. I think there's only around 2.5 minutes remaining in this session, so if any of these drivers behind him improve, which won't be Leonard, won't be Octavia, won't be Daniele, it's going to be between Siep and Juschgoed to try and improve, and Siep is just about making it to the pit lane in time. I don't know if he's going to be able to go out, so it might just be all about Sasha in P15. If he can improve, and he's not improving at the moment, he's down by almost 0.3 of a second, and he needs to find at least 0.6 to be able to beat Lucas. So it looks like Sasha might have bottled it, and he's not going to be able to go any quicker. And I think it might be because it's starting to rain here in qualifying. So we see some drops on the screen, I think. And the Ferrari driver is coming back into the pit lane with just 2 minutes remaining. And this might actually be the end of qualifying, which means that Lucas is just about done enough to make it through into the final part of qualifying. Only 0.3 of a second, even less than that. But I think he might just be safe as the rain is starting to come down here in Singapore, it seems like. So Kik is on provisional pole position. His teammate just about making it through. Very, very close stuff for Lucas, but I think that might just be the end then of Q2 with Kik, Kevin and Mels being out top 3, and Mels and Kevin setting the exact same lap time, and Finn is not too far off with its 27.7 as well, and Erik also with a 27.7, but Kik, what a lap time he has done, a 27.3, a full 4/10 quicker than Kevin. Definitely did not see that coming here in qualifying tonight.
Q3 is going to be absolutely phenomenal because now the rain has impacted the circuit. It's really galvanized and really changed the spirit of this race now, or qualifying session, sorry. It has really brought thrown up cats amongst the pigeons, basically, and we never know which driver has the adaptability, speed to the rain as well, because these guys in Q3 experience the rain for the first time. It's all about who can adapt as well. So they won't have much time in Q3 to adapt. They've got to do it very quickly, put those lap times on the board. But I really hope those guys retire now. Apologies. I knocked it off with my foot. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So that's the end of qualifying.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. As Siep is out on lap in the kick, so I'm not sure what he is attempting to do. He's got 15 seconds until the flag drops, so he's going to be out of qualifying. Unfortunately for the kick, Sauer making his debut, 3/10 short of Lucas in P10, but that is the end. That's going to be the end of qualifying, or Q2 at least, and then we'll make it into Q3. Are you good with audio again?
Yeah, so basically I accidentally knocked the headset off of my foot, so apologies about that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting Q3 then with the rain changing things around, throwing a spice there as well here in Singapore. Last time we had, oh look at that, the exact same lap time from Kevin and Mels Mackis, I'm sure you pointed out earlier in the session. But this is going to be a fighty top 10, a top 10 full of Dutch people as well, which one of the Dutch people could come out on top and claim pole position around here at the Singapore Grand Prix. I think it was Kik who took pole ahead of Kevin Zundberg, but Kevin Zundberg overtook Kik at the Nova Chicane and pulled away beautifully and controlled and dominated the race. But Quick is a very quick qualifier. Sorry about that. He's a very quick oh my god. Kik is a very quick qualifier. There we go. Yeah, that's a bit of a twang twister there. Very quick qualifier, but at the same time, though, Kevin Zundberg just managed to get ahead of him in the chicane with a lovely move as well on pure pace. You don't really see it overtaking on Monaco. But it is raining here at the Singapore Grand Prix then, and this is going to really frustrate a few drivers who are not particularly strong in the wet conditions then. So I wonder, could it be dry towards the start of the qualifying and end up wetter as well? We've seen some people in the soft car power tyres. It could be a situation where it could be a one-shot qualifying, and the one-shot qualifying, you got to, contradict myself, go as fast as you can, but also take it steady as well. It's a bit of a juxtaposition there as well. You've got to go as quick as you can, but also not invalidate. This one lap time is very important, and I'm expected to see a mad dash out on the pit lane. The two Alpines, Kevin Zundberg is coming out to play as well, as we've got more drivers making their way on towards the field. This is going to be such an intense qualifying session, so it's still good enough for the soft car power tyres, but it's all about who can survive, who can keep it on the track, who can keep it within the confines of the white lines here in Singapore as well, which is very easy to do. The track conditions are going to be very slippery, so drivers got to pay attention and be aware and adapt to every single situation very quickly. We know how slippy it is we know how difficult it is when it gets slippy here in Singapore as well. The grip is just completely gone, and you're just skating, driving on ice as well. So qualifying can be very intriguing, and I want to see as well who's going to take pole. A few people came out very late as well for good measure, but at the beginning of this queue, I think it's F1 Shorts who's at the very beginning, so he's got the preferred choice as well, trying to get temperature in his tyres. And he's got a whole train of cars right behind it. So I really hope those cars, usually in these qualifying situations, nobody backs off because they want to get going as soon as they can to get the best possible track conditions. And that's why we see all these drivers bunch up together. It happens every single time, rain impacts the circuit later on in the qualifying session, where everybody wants to get the run and nobody wants to back off because they want the best possible conditions ever. But DRS is still enabled then, so we're probably on the cut-off point. But who's last in this train, I wonder? I think it is the Alpine driver of Finn Hurst. So he came out very late. No, it's not Finn Hurst, it's a Williams driver. I get confused between the Williams and the Racing Bulls colours there. But Lucas then is the last one in the queue, and it seems like the conditions are starting to intensify slowly but surely, and qualifying, one-shot qualifying could be the case tonight. Who's going to take pole in this dramatic qualifying session here in Singapore? We've got a few cars backed up already in this last sector, but here we go, the foot to the floor, and F1 Shorts is in the pit lane for some reason. So he feels like it's not soft compound tyres. It was sped too, but luckily it's qualified chassis as well, so no tensor fatality on that occasion. But he's in the pit lane, so he's backed off there. So does he feel like the intermediates are the best compound tyre right now? It seems a bit silly, but the tri-compound tyres are literally better as long as you keep it on the road and don't make too many offs or make
validated.
Oh dear, Kick has it validated already at turn 5, so he could be a bit of trouble here as well as the track seems to get worse and worse. And let's see who can pump in those lap times, who can keep it on the track, who could try and find a lot of lap time, taking lots of risk. Oh, Kevin Zumberg as well, also validates as well, so he's on the back 4. Finn Hertz is coming towards, I think, turn number 8 and 9. He's kept the car on the road, and he's the first driver who crossed the line. Now, what is the thinking of F1 Shorts? It's on the intermediate compound tyre, so he feels like the inters are the best way to go in qualifying. But was that a bit of a blunder here, because the track seems still dry? It's all about surviving. It looks like the inters are the better tyre, but the soft compound tyres may still have a slight advantage. And I think F1 Shorts should have stayed out there as well, considering the DRS is still enabled then, as F1 Shorts, Finn Hertz squirms away at the exit of turn 11 now, heading towards turn 12. Lap times obviously getting slower. It's all about being careful now, especially in the last sector where it's full of mid-speed, slow-speed corners. It's very easy to outbrake yourself. It's very easy to lose traction here. So every single driver has got to be cautious arriving in this final sector. Finn Hertz is one of them. He's the first one. Kept it nice and clean so far. Hopefully he can for the remainder of this lap time. Here he is then, the young Dutchman making his way towards the final 2 corners. And let's see, very slowly towards the line. It's a 38.3 and with 10 seconds off the best pace in the dry conditions. But Eric goes up into P2. He can't dethrone Finn Hertz. Mummy Nick up into P2, quite a long way behind. As Miles Mackis takes pole position here at the Singapore Grand Prix. What a stonky lap time there for Miles. He's been super quick so far this season. Claimed the podium back at the Zandvoort Grand Prix. He's been looking very strong so far, and he's on provisional pole here at the Singapore race. And let's see, can he maintain it? He'll be hoping now, because the conditions will get worse and worse. Kevin Zumberg is on the flying lap. Fireblaze is literally drifting through turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3, and his best lap time is not representative. So the Ferrari driver is also on the back 4. Where is Kick? Also validated once again. Kick hasn't validated, so he's not really settling in towards these conditions here. But Kevin Zumberg is on the flying lap and seems to be improving.
Can he go quicker than Mels? Otherwise it would be a historic pole position for Mels by just over 800ths of a second towards Finn in second place. Lucas in P3 in the end, being the last car out on track at the beginning of the session, still finds himself on the second row, and Moby Nick is on the second row as well. But it all depends on what Kevin is going to be doing on this lap. Surely the rain is starting to intensify as the session continues on. Not quite sure. I haven't seen any purple sector so far for Kevin. Kick for sure will not be anywhere near the front of the field, having invalidated twice. We're going to be keeping an eye out on F1 Shorts as well. Just went out of the intermediate, but doesn't look like he is going any quickly compared to the ones who've already set a lap time. But Kevin now, DRS open as he goes towards the final chicane, struggling again with the back end. As there's some traffic up ahead. Hopefully they're going to be getting out of the way for the McLaren driver, as he is going to set his final his first flying lap time. Another moment out of the penultimate corner. Here he comes. It's not going to be quickest. In fact, it's going to be a second off. Kevin only P7, 1.4 seconds off. And that might just have confirmed that Nels Mackes will be on pole position here in Singapore. We'll wait and see what F1 Shorts is doing on the intermediate, but for sure he won't be quicker than the slicks, because DRS of course still active early on in this session, and I think the intermediates are just not that quick enough. But well, what a dream there for Mels, securing pole position. For sure the intermediate, the rain is going to intensify as the session continues on, so nobody's going to be able to go any quicker than the lap times they have just done on the soft compound tire. As we wait for F1 Shorts to make his way into the final couple of corners. He could be going quicker than Fireblaze, could be into P8 potentially there. Of course Kick can still go out to at least get P8 secured or Fireblaze, as F1 Short is going to come out of the final corner. He's actually not that far off, but he has a big moment out of the final corner. He goes P3 for F1 Short, 1/10 of a second away from Melsmacher. If he didn't make that mistake out of the final corner, it could have been pole position for F1 Short, but that looks like the intermediates still are quite quick in this session, and that means that it might not be over yet for a pole position with 5 minutes to go.
Exactly, he did 10.2 in the middle sector. I'm thinking to myself, wait, that is a quick middle sector there, especially on the inters. Now DRS has been fully disabled, but F1 Shorts on provisional pole position then, and what looked like to be a bit of a blunder course seems to be he made a few mistakes in the last corner, massive wheel spin, the car not complying at all, and Kevin Zundberg, disappointment for the Dutchie here as well after winning 3-4 races in a row, but he's currently sat on the 4th row of the grid behind Gas, and we know what his race pace is like. AMS Kick is currently out there so far, making so many mistakes, a handful of mistakes. That was very costly indeed. Very quick in the qualifying session, but unfortunately, he made too many mistakes on the soft compound tyres and got himself a validator too. Here he is on the inters. So do these drivers feel like the inters are the way to go now? Are they a little bit quicker than the soft compound tyres? Proven evidence, yes. Majority of people on the inters then, including Melsmacher. So the 38.2 could be beaten, you know. I think we were just on the very crossover point between the softs and the intermediate compound tyres, just on the very, very edge. And I wonder, could anybody take pole position away from Melsmacher in first place? It's going to be his first pole of the season, and in Singapore too. He's done a great job so far as well in the last couple of races. Let's see if he can try maintain pole position. F1 Shorts coming towards the final few corners, but I think he's going to pit this lap because he has got enough fuel in the car then. He was the first one to go on the easily compound tyres. It seems the gamble has paid off so far in this session, and the inters definitely like the way to go, but I wonder, are the lap times getting slower and slower? Or is it still the same? 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go on the clock. We're about to find out. But unexpected, though, it is Melsmacher on pole position. That wasn't on my bingo card tonight either.
No, Finn Geert, he is going to start another flying lap. It could be a dream day for the RB team. Of course, DRS has been disabled, so they're going to lose that advantage down the 3 DRS zones that F1 Shorts and Melsmacher, all of them had on their first runs. But we'll wait and see what Finn Geert can do. If he's going to be improving through the first sector, that means he definitely still has a chance of securing pole position. But this is going to be the longest DRS zone down this track, so he will lose a couple of tenths of a second normally when the DRS now is disabled. Let's see if he has found an improvement through sector 1. No, he has not. He's 4.5 tenths down through sector 1, and he's going to have to gain that back in the middle sectors, and he still will lose a couple of more tenths at the end of the lap when DRS will be disabled. So it might actually still be good news for Melsmacher, who is on provisional pole position right now, and it might just still be enough now that the DRS has been disabled. Finn Geert is going to make his way into the old Singapore sling as yellow flags are out in the middle of the track. I think most of the people are they're thinking that it's not going to be an improvement on these final runs, so they're on their outlaps all the time as Finn Geert makes his way in towards the hairpin. Bit of a mistake there on the entry, turning in a little bit too early, but I don't think he lost too much time with that. But now down another of the DRS zones, and he's backed off. Finn Geert has backed off. He will not be improving on this lap. Is there anyone out there who's going to be improving? Lucas is down by 8 tenths through sector 1. Mominik, I don't think he's improving either. Erik in the Alpine, wait and see what he can do. Geitekaas is there as well. Kevin on the intermediates, but he will be struggling as well to find an improvement. Fireblaze, of course, he's best lap time is 7 seconds off. And Kick, who hasn't set a lap time yet, can he go quicker than the likes of Kevin, potentially in P8? But Finn Geert is going to go back into the pit lane now. Zilmar is going to try another lap here in these final minutes of qualifying. So he's got one more attempt. The rain, of course, is going to get heavier in these final couple of moments. We wait to see what Mominik can do when he kicks out, but I think he's a couple of seconds off as well. Big moment out of the final corner, and he was 7 tenths of a second away from improvement. We'll wait and see for Kevin, who invalidated on his outlap, and Kick P9, and he's 1.7 seconds away. So I think that Melsmacher's pole position still should be safe, despite these final couple of runs here on the intermediates.
Exactly. Fireblaze up to P8 ahead of Kevin Zundberg as well. So, unfortunately, some people just got caught out by these conditions. Some people are validated as well. And what a lap for Melsmacher there. Made minimum amount of mistakes. Found the perfect lap time to put it on a pole position. He's also out there himself, but he's 1.1 seconds down. So nobody is finding a good chunk amount of time to try and get themselves up the order. So I think the qualifying done and dusted there as well. It turns out the soft compound tyres were possibly the right way. I think it was just on the very crossover between the softs and inters. The grip was just constantly fading away and literally driving on skates to the soft compound tyres. So F1 shorts, it wasn't a bad call, but he did make a big mistake, and that's one mistake unfortunately can't be improved because the conditions are getting worse and worse as well. So the peak conditions were at the very start of qualifying, and now it's getting wetter and wetter, and nobody out there is going to improve on their flying laps as well. Just probably doing a few runs as well to see what they could do if they could try and for somehow get themselves on the order. We got F1 shorts towards the end of the first sector. He's 6 tenths down, so obviously, this is not a compelling lap time for him. Now, qualifying is almost on the dusted. 3, 2, 1, and the qualifying's ended. It is Miles Makis for the first time here in SDN season Tier 1. He's on pole position. Congratulations with Finn Hertz in P2. F1 shorts, third place ahead of Lucas in fourth. Mummy Nick, what a sensational qualifier here at the Singapore race tonight. And he's currently on the third row of the grid, shared with Eric in sixth place. Then we've got Hattikas, five place, Kevin Zuckerberg, disappointed ninth for the championship leader, and a kick in P10. I'm going to go to Ptolemy. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. So that's the end then of qualifying, and wow, what an end result. Something you definitely didn't expect going into this qualifying, going in Q1 and Q2. But it's Miles Makis on pole position here in Singapore tonight by just under a tenth of a second towards Finn Geert in second place. And F1 Shorts, who made that mistake on his one and only flying lap, or is a real attempt of a flying lap through this very section, the final corner, where he had a big moment coming out of it, and that unfortunately cost him pole position, but he still finds himself in P3. A magnificent result for the RB team. First and third on the grid, Lucas and P4, and Muminick, what a run he is going at the moment. Monaco 3 weeks ago, he finished in fourth place, and tonight he's going to be starting in P5 for Singapore, ahead of Erik, ahead of Gaitakas, ahead of Fireblaze, ahead of Kevin, and ahead of Kik. And who would have thought that Muminick would beat all of those drivers in a qualifying session this season? All very handy drivers here in SDN, but Kevin and Kik starting down in P9 and P10 with Fireblaze just ahead in P8. So they will be making a comeback around this track, but that is easier said than done, because overtaking is very difficult around Singapore. Even though you have 3 DRS zones, if it's going to be dry in the race, there's going to be many DRS trains forming. And when in the DRS train, of course, it's very difficult to overtake. But if it's raining, then there might be some opportunities. But still, Singapore is always a track where overtaking is more difficult than the majority of the track on the calendar. But now we can prepare ourselves for the race. We'll find out what the weather conditions are going to be like for the race, for the beginning of the race at least, as we get through this loading screen. But Mels on pole position, can he convert his pole position into a maiden win? It seems to be dry for at least the start of this race, so that should make up for an interesting beginning stage of this race. It's going to be a long race, 31 laps ahead of us, and if it is going to be completely dry, then it should be a one stop, I think, from mediums to hards or hard to mediums. I can imagine that some of the drivers who are further down than they would have liked to go for an alternative strategy, maybe start on the hards and continue on longer, or go for a very early undercut to gain positions through that. Anything is going to be possible, but we are going to be preparing ourselves for this race. Mels, Finn Geerts, F1 Shorts, and Lucas the top 4 with Muminick in P5, but this is looking like it's going to be a very interesting race with the grid at how it is right now.
Full grid last time at the Monaco Grand Prix. We know how hectic it got there as well. Lasted 2 hours literally. And here in Singapore as well, we're going to see some, hopefully, not too many safety cars, but I dare say 1 or 2 will be deployed. But the race is about to get going very shortly. And we get racing here at the Singapore Grand Prix. It seems like Miles Makis has maintained the lead as we head down in towards turn 1 as he goes down the inside but can't make a move. His team at F1 Short side by side with Lucas headed down in towards turn 3, the wheel to wheel. But let's see, as you see Lucas there just squeeze F1 Shorts a little bit, but not too much, as he maintains P3 for the time being to make the way down in towards turn 7. That's a double overtake is from Nick. That was a really good defense there, or overtake, as he was fighting with Fireblaze. And Kevin Zundberg, as in the wall, goes to Sabre before press as we head down in towards 7-7. Let's see what's going to happen as we see contact as well between Lucas and also I think the Racing Bull driver of F1 short. It was actually, I think, Amos Kick who made contact with him going towards turn 7. But what happened further behind? I think Dominic is dropping a few places. A great qualifying start, but unfortunately has dropped down a few places. And Kevin Sundberg, Leonard, 5 places have all jumped in. Kevin Sundberg is on the hardcore power tyres along with Ricky Hughes. So only 2 drivers on the hardcore power tyres tonight, and they're going for a very long stint in this race. But so far it is Miles Mackis who leads this way.
Yeah, you did. You got left the session, so I'll invite you back immediately. But well, not the start that Muminick would have hoped for. Certainly not the start that Kick would have hoped for. But it is the start that Mels hoped for. He leads the way at the end of the opening lap, ahead of Finn, Lucas, and Kick Geitegas in P5. F1 Shorts down in 6th place, so he's lost 3 positions as well since the beginning. And Muminick lost 5. Octavia's lost 1 as well. DRS is going to be enabled going on to lap 2, and that is going to allow Finn to potentially have a go at our race leader for P1. He's going to have to DRS 3 times around this track, around this lap. He's currently half a second away from Miles Mackett. Is it going to be close enough to go for the move? F Kick is going to pull into the pit lane. Not sure if he's got front wing damage, but he is going to make an early stop in this race. Miles Mackett, he's got Finn Geerts for company. Is he going to try and go for the inside? Tries to go the outside in towards turn 7, but Mels defends the inside. But now the switchback is there for the Alpine. Oh, Finn is going to try and go long around the outside there, but Mels later on the brakes puts it into the wall on the exit, and now Finn is back on the outside line. And is he going to try and go for